The night does not rush. It simply continues. The river still moves the same way it did moments ago. Slow, steady, unconcerned with time. Its surface catches the faint light of the stars, stretching those reflections into long, gentle lines. They drift, then disappear, replaced by new ones that look almost the same. Nothing needs to change. Along the riverbank, the grass leans slightly, not enough to fall. The village sits quietly beneath the darkening sky. Wooden homes lined up along dirt streets hold the faint warmth of the day. Lanterns hang gently, their soft glow reflecting off windows, casting long, lazy shadows that move with nothing but patience. A horse shifts in its stall, the small sound barely audible. Nearby, the river winds slowly through the fields, its surface reflecting a sky that has softened from blue to deep indigo. Nothing is urgent here, nothing demands your attention. Even the wind moves gently, brushing against tall grass, then retreating into stillness. In the distance, a small barn rests. Its doors are closed. The wood smells faintly of smoke and age. A ladder leans lightly against the side. Everything remains exactly as it should. Somewhere along the riverbank, reeds sway slowly. Water laps softly against the shore. It is a quiet rhythm, steady, unbroken, and it carries nothing that needs to be chased. The streets of the village hold the sound of absence. Steps have faded. Voices are long gone. Even the faint squeak of a wheel on a cart seems distant, as if it happened in another time entirely. Inside a small home, a candle flickers, its flame bending with the draft from the open window. The room smells faintly of wood and dried herbs, and everything inside holds its place. A chair rests beside a table. A book lies closed, unread for now. Outside, stars begin to shine, soft and unhurried. They do not demand attention. They do not flicker to startle. They simply exist, calm and patient. The river reflects their light. Its flow is gentle. The reeds bend and lift. The night feels contained. Everything is exactly where it should be. A soft wind lifts the corner of a curtain. Inside, a person shifts slightly in sleep, breathing evenly, quietly, without awareness of the river, the barn, or the stars. And that is how it should be. Time here does not feel measured. The clock in the village square ticks, but only to mark presence, not urgency. The sound becomes background, blending with the river, the wind, and the stillness of the village. Somewhere far away, a tree creaks lightly. It is not alarming. It is not demanding. It simply reminds you of its existence. Across the fields, shadows stretch and settle. The grass bends slightly with the breeze, then straightens again, as if nothing ever happened. The night carries itself forward without effort. Breath follows breath, slow, even, unhurried. Your body responds. Shoulders relax. Jaw softens. Eyes rest heavier. There is nothing you need to hold on to. Even thoughts begin to drift. They come, they stay lightly, and then they pass. No lesson, no action, no urgency. Only the calm flow of the night. The barn remains still. The river continues. The sky stretches overhead. Everything feels balanced. Everything feels safe. You do not need to follow the horse. You do not need to notice the reeds. You do not need to remember the day. You can rest here, completely. And as you breathe, as you settle, the night carries you further into itself. Time loosens, moments expand, the world simplifies into calm, and you are part of that quiet continuation. The night does not rush. It simply continues. The river still moves the same way it did moments ago. Slow, steady, unconcerned with time. Its surface catches the faint light of the stars, stretching those reflections into long, gentle lines. They drift, then disappear, replaced by new ones that look almost the same. Nothing needs to change. Along the riverbank, the grass leans slightly. Not enough to fall, just enough to listen to the breeze. Each blade moves in its own small way, yet together they create a soft, uniform rhythm. Farther out, the fields rest under the open sky. They do not sleep, but they are not awake either. They exist in a quiet middle space, where nothing is asked of them. A wooden fence runs along the edge of one field. Its posts are uneven, weathered by years of sun and rain. The wood has softened with age, edges rounded by time rather than force. An owl shifts on a branch somewhere beyond the trees. It does not cry out. It simply adjusts its balance. The branch holds. The moment passes. The village remains calm. Lanterns still glow faintly, their light steady and warm. Some windows are dark now. Others hold a soft golden square of light, suggesting quiet activity inside, or perhaps none at all. Inside one of the homes, a kettle rests cold on a small iron stove. The fire beneath it has long gone out. The air smells faintly of ash and old wood. Nothing stirs. A table stands near the window. Its surface holds the marks of use. Small scratches. A faint ring from a cup placed there earlier in the day. These marks do not demand attention. They simply exist, like memories that no longer need to be recalled. A chair is pushed back slightly, as if someone stood up gently, not in a hurry, and left it there without thought. Outside again, the dirt road curves away from the house, leading toward the center of the village. The road is quiet now. No wheels pass over it. No footsteps disturb its surface. The earth itself feels settled, as if it has exhaled. Breathing becomes easier here. In, out, slowly. You do not need to imagine yourself walking this road. You do not need to place yourself anywhere at all. The story moves without you. You can simply float alongside it, or drift away entirely. At the edge of the village, trees gather in loose clusters. Their leaves barely move. The sound they make is soft and repetitive, like distant water, or a breath taken by something very large and very calm. The moon lifts higher now. Its light spreads evenly across rooftops and fields. It does not spotlight anything. It does not cast dramatic shadows. It simply softens the night. A barn door creaks slightly, just enough to remind the night it exists. The sound fades almost immediately. Silence returns, unbothered. Inside the barn, the horse stands as it did before. Its breathing is slow and steady. The warmth of its body mixes with the cool night air. Straw rests beneath its hooves, undisturbed. Nothing asks the horse to move. Nothing asks the night to change. Beyond the barn, the land stretches outward. Fields blending into forest. Forest blending into hills. The edges blur softly in the low light. Far away, so far it almost does not exist, another settlement rests. Its lights are few, its presence barely noticeable. Distance softens everything. The sky feels wider here. Stars hang without pattern. They do not form messages. They do not guide. They simply remain. If a thought appears now, it can pass just as easily. There is nothing you need to hold on to. There is nothing you need to remember. Time does not move forward here. It simply drifts. The river continues, always the same, always different. A small dock reaches into the water near one bend. Its boards are worn smooth. A rope lies coiled at one end, unused, content to remain where it is. The water touches the dock gently, again and again, never striking, never demanding entry. Somewhere near the trees, a fox passes quietly. Its movement is quick but soft. It leaves no trace that matters. The night closes behind it, as if nothing happened. The fields breathe. The village rests. The sky holds everything together. You may notice your body settling further now, the weight of the day loosening, muscles softening without effort, eyes growing heavier, not because they must close, but because they want to. Even the idea of listening can fade. The words no longer need to be followed. They can blur together, like the river's surface under starlight. Everything important has already been said. Everything else is repetition, gentle, unnecessary. The night remains open, wide, safe. And as the river keeps moving, so quietly, so endlessly, the story continues with it, unconcerned with where you are, or whether you are still listening at all. The river does not announce itself anymore. It simply exists in the background, a steady presence, like breathing you no longer notice. The land nearby feels settled, as if it has found the exact position it prefers. The soil holds the warmth of the day, slowly releasing it into the night air, not all at once, just enough to soften the coolness. A low hill rises gently beyond the fields. Its slope is gradual, easy on the eyes, easy on the mind. Nothing sharp, nothing demanding attention. At the top of the hill, a lone tree stands without ceremony. Its branches spread wide, not reaching for anything, just occupying space comfortably. Leaves whisper against each other. Not in conversation, just in acknowledgement. Below, the fields stretch outward. Rows are not perfectly straight, They never were. Time has smoothed out the need for precision. Fences curve slightly, following the land instead of resisting it. Posts lean where they choose to lean. No one corrects them anymore. Somewhere nearby, a farmhouse rests quietly. Its windows are dark now. The structure itself seems to sleep. Wood and stone holding together without effort. A porch runs along the front. Its boards creak softly as the temperature changes. The sound is brief, then gone. A rocking chair sits still, not moving, not waiting, simply there. You do not need to imagine who lived here. You do not need to fill in the past. The space exists without explanation. The night accepts everything as it is. Farther out, a narrow path cuts through the grass. It has been walked many times, but not recently. Grass has begun to reclaim its edges. The path leads nowhere important. It never did. It just connects places gently. The sky opens wider as the hours pass. Stars feel farther apart now. Or perhaps closer. Distance loses meaning here. Clouds drift slowly, thin and patient. They do not cover the stars completely. They soften them. Breathing becomes slower without instruction. In. Out. There is nothing you need to do. Nothing you need to remember. The land holds its quiet history without telling it. Years pass beneath the surface, settled like layers of earth. Undisturbed. A wind moves through the grass again. Softer this time. Almost apologetic. It carries the faint scent of soil and leaves. Simple. Grounded. At the edge of the field, a small stream branches off from the river. Its water is shallow. Clear. Unhurried. It slips around stones without resistance. Never stopping. Never rushing. The sound it makes is barely there. More felt than heard. If thoughts appear now, they can follow the water. Moving gently away. No effort required. Even listening becomes optional. The words no longer need to be followed. They can blur, stretch, fade. The farmhouse remains still. The hill watches quietly. The tree does not move. Everything holds its place without trying. The night deepens, but it does not grow heavier. It grows softer. Time loosens its grip. Moments stretch thin and wide. You are safe to drift. Safe to let go. The land continues to rest, exactly as it has for generations, unconcerned with witness, unconcerned with memory. And somewhere between the fields and the sky, Between one slow breath and the next, the story keeps going, even if you no longer notice it. The story keeps moving, even without attention. The night remains open, wide, and patient. Somewhere beyond the fields, the river continues its slow work, not carving, not changing, just being present. The land feels older now, not in years, but in calm. A soft mist begins to gather near the ground. It does not rise, it does not spread far. It stays low, resting lightly over the grass. Each blade holds a small weight of moisture, enough to feel cool, not enough to bend. The path through the field disappears beneath it. Not lost, just temporarily hidden. Time here does not count itself. There are no hours asking to be noticed, no moments waiting to be marked. Long ago, people moved across this land quietly. They worked in daylight. They rested when the light faded. Not because they were told to, but because the body understood. Wooden homes once stood farther out, simple structures, square shapes, soft edges worn by weather. Their outlines still exist in memory, but memory does not speak tonight. The air grows slightly cooler, not sharp, not uncomfortable, just enough to invite stillness. Breath slows again, naturally. You do not need to follow the rhythm. It already knows where to go. The hill remains where it has always been. The tree stands in the same place, roots deep, unmoving. Branches sway once, then settle. If a sound drifts through now, it is distant, unimportant. An owl passes overhead, silent, unseen. Its presence is felt only as a shift in the air. Then nothing. The fields accept the darkness fully now. Edges blur, lines soften. What was once a fence becomes a suggestion. What was once a boundary becomes space. Somewhere farther back in time, this land was walked slowly. Not claimed, not rushed. Footsteps pressed gently into soil, then faded. There is no need to remember who walked here. The land remembers for itself. The mist thickens slightly, but never enough to hide the stars. They remain above, steady and distant, not asking for attention. Clouds drift again, thin as breath. If thoughts appear, they can float with them. No direction needed. The farmhouse creaks once more, just a sound of wood adjusting. Then silence returns. Nothing inside stirs, nothing outside calls. This is a place without urgency, a place without instruction. The hours pass, but they do not announce themselves. Even the concept of past and future feels optional here. Only the present remains, and even that feels soft. The stream reflects the moon faintly now. Light breaks across the surface, then reforms. It does not hold on to shape. It lets it go. You can do the same. There is nothing you need to hold on to. The land continues its quiet rest, holding warmth, holding silence, holding nothing else. Somewhere between the river and the sky, the night settles deeper. Not heavier, just slower. And as the story continues forward, it does so without demanding awareness, without asking to be followed, without needing an ending. The night remains steady, as if it has decided to stay a while. The mist near the ground thins, then gathers again, moving without direction. It does not hurry, It does not linger. The fields breathe quietly. Grass settles back into place after each small movement of air. Somewhere beyond the hill, the river turns slowly, not sharply, just enough to change the reflection of the sky. Moonlight softens along the bend. Silver becomes gray. Gray becomes shadow. Time feels wider here, not longer, just wider. Long ago, lantern light once moved across these fields. Small points of warmth. Never bright, never harsh. They drifted from home to barn, from barn to path, then disappeared. No urgency followed them, only routine. The land learned those patterns and then gently forgot them. A fence post leans a little more tonight. No one notices. No one needs to. The tree on the hill releases a leaf. It falls slowly, catching air once, then again, before resting where it chooses. Nothing marks the moment. Breathing remains easy. In, out. You do not need to follow the words now. They can soften. They can blur at the edges. The farmhouse stays dark. Its walls hold warmth from the day, enough to feel comforting. Wood remembers heat longer than stone. It gives it back slowly. Inside, rooms exist without movement. Furniture waits without waiting. A table, a chair, a floor that has known many quiet steps. None of it asks for attention. Outside, the path through the field reappears briefly as the mist shifts. Then it fades again. Both are acceptable. The sky stretches. Stars remain patient. They have learned not to rush anything. Clouds pass in thin layers, never covering everything at once. If a thought drifts in now, it can drift back out. There is nothing to solve. The stream continues its gentle sound. Not constant. Not silent. Just enough to remind the night that movement can be calm. The land holds the past loosely. It does not replay it. It does not explain it. It simply rests with it. The air cools slightly again. Not enough to wake. Just enough to soothe. You are safe here. You do not need to stay awake for the story. The story knows how to continue on its own. Time smooths itself out. Edges rounding. Minutes becoming soft shapes. Nothing ends. Nothing begins. The night carries everything forward. Quietly. Patiently. Without asking to be noticed. The night feels settled now, as if it has been here for a long time. Not arriving, not leaving, just present. The fields no longer shift with every breath of wind. They rest, accepting stillness without effort. The river continues beyond sight, moving through curves it knows well. Water remembers its way, even when no one watches. Moonlight thins slightly, softened by passing cloud. Light does not disappear, it becomes gentler. Shadows stretch, then soften at their edges. The hill remains quiet. The tree stands without motion. branches relaxed, leaves settled. Nothing falls now, nothing rises. The air holds a steady coolness, comfortable, unremarkable. Breathing slows again, without instruction. In, out. You do not need to hold on to the rhythm. It carries itself. Long ago, this land knew the sound of morning early. But tonight, morning feels distant, unnecessary. Lanterns once dimmed at this hour. Doors closed gently. Voices lowered, then faded. Those sounds do not return. They are not missed. The farmhouse seems to lean into the night, its shape unchanged, its presence steady. Walls listen without hearing. Windows reflect nothing. Inside, darkness feels complete. Rooms hold their quiet like breath held softly. Never tight, never strained. Outside, the path through the field rests unseen. Grass stands tall again, reclaiming space patiently. The stream glides along its shallow bed. Water curls around stone, then releases it. There is no resistance, only movement. If a thought appears now, it can rest beside the water, cool and untroubled. Then move on. You do not need to remember this place. There is nothing to remember. Time stretches wider still. Moments blend together. Edges fading. Stars feel farther away, or perhaps closer. The difference no longer matters. Clouds pause briefly, then continue. The night has learned how to stay quiet, and the land has learned how to receive it. Nothing asks to be understood. Nothing waits for response. The story continues without effort, without direction, without needing to be followed. The river flows. The fields rest. The sky remains open. And somewhere between one slow breath and the next, the night becomes familiar, safe enough to drift within, soft enough to let go. The night feels deeper now, not darker, just more complete. The land no longer shifts at all. It rests in a steady balance, as if it has found the position it prefers most. The river moves beyond sound. Its presence is known without needing to be heard. Moonlight settles low. It touches the tops of grass, the edges of the field, the calm surface of water. Nothing shines. Everything glows softly. The tree on the hill remains still, branches relaxed, leaves unmoving. It does not listen, it does not watch, it simply exists. The air holds a quiet warmth now, not from the day, but from rest itself. Breathing feels slow, natural, unnoticed. You do not need to stay with the words. They can drift past you. They do not need attention. Long ago, this land followed simple patterns: light, work, rest. Those patterns still echo here, not as memory, but as rhythm. The farmhouse feels farther away now, even though it has not moved. Distance softens things. Windows hold no reflection. Walls blend into shadow. Inside, everything remains exactly as it was left. Nothing shifts. Nothing waits. Outside, the field feels wider. Boundaries fade. Edges blur. The path through the grass no longer matters. Every direction feels the same. The sky stretches quietly overhead. Stars remain steady, but they feel less defined, as if they too are resting. Clouds thin and slow. They do not cover. They do not reveal. Time loosens its shape. Minutes soften. Seconds dissolve. If a thought passes through now, it does not stay long. It finds no surface to hold on to. You do not need to follow it. You do not need to finish it. The night holds everything gently. Nothing slips away. Nothing presses in. The land remains. The river flows. The sky stays open. And the quiet that remains does not ask to be filled, does not ask to be understood. It simply stays, soft and steady, allowing everything else to rest within it. The night has reached its middle, a place where nothing changes quickly. The land feels settled into itself, not waiting, not moving on, just being. The fields hold their shape without effort. Grass does not sway now. It rests where it is. The river continues far away, not louder, not quieter, simply constant. Moonlight spreads thin and even, touching everything the same way. No highlights, no shadows asking for attention. The tree on the hill seems softer now, as if its edges have gently blurred. Branches merge with sky. Leaves become texture instead of detail. The air feels smooth, cool, but not cold. Breathing stays slow, without direction. In, out. You do not need to keep track of where you are. This place does not require orientation. Long ago, people slept through hours like this, without marking them. No clocks watched the night. No sounds announced time. Darkness was simply allowed to continue. The farmhouse feels distant again, more like a suggestion than a structure. Its shape remains, but it does not pull the eye. Walls blend into the land. Roof blends into sky. Inside, rooms hold stillness gently. Not empty, not full, just quiet. Outside, the path through the field no longer exists. Grass has erased it completely. The land prefers it this way. The sky stretches wider than before. Stars soften further, as if they are drifting apart. Slowly, patiently. Clouds pass without forming shapes. They do not become anything. They simply pass. Time loosens again. Moments no longer connect. They rest beside each other instead. If a memory floats in now, it can fade without finishing. You do not need to carry it. There is nothing you need to remember. The night holds everything evenly. No place feels more important than another. The river flows. The fields rest. The sky remains open. And somewhere within this long, easy middle of night, the story continues quietly, without effort, without needing to be heard. The night feels almost weightless now, as if time itself has relaxed. Nothing presses forward, nothing pulls back. The land feels distant and close at once. Fields remain open, wide and patient. Grass rests without movement, not asleep, not awake. The river continues somewhere beyond thought. Its path no longer matters. Only its steady presence remains. Moonlight fades into a softer glow. Not dim, just calm. Light touches the land evenly, as if choosing not to choose. The tree on the hill is barely defined now. It blends with shadow and sky, no longer separate. The air feels smooth and still, cool enough to soothe, warm enough to relax. Breathing continues quietly, finding its own rhythm. You do not need to notice it. Long ago, this land passed through many nights like this. They were not recorded. They did not need to be. Darkness simply held everything together. The farmhouse feels like part of the ground now. Wood and earth sharing the same calm. No lines. No edges. Inside, nothing stirs. Nothing waits. Outside, the field feels endless. No paths. No borders. The sky opens wider again. Stars soften further, becoming gentle points rather than places. Clouds dissolve slowly, leaving space behind them. Time loosens completely here. Minutes lose their shape. Seconds drift apart. If a thought forms now, it dissolves before finishing. That is enough. There is nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to hold. The night carries everything easily, without weight, without effort. The river flows, the fields rest, the sky remains open. And in this place where time softens completely, the story continues on its own, quiet and unhurried, allowing everything else to drift gently toward rest. The night has thinned now, not breaking, just easing. The land remains still, as if it knows there is no need to move yet. Fields rest in a wide quiet. Grass holds its place gently, unchanged. The river continues, steady and calm, without sound that asks to be heard. Moonlight becomes faint, blending into the sky rather than standing apart. Light does not leave. It softens. The tree on the hill is almost part of the air now, outline fading, presence remaining. The air feels smooth, balanced between cool and warm, comfortable enough to forget. Breathing moves slowly, without direction, without effort. In, out. You do not need to stay with these words. They can pass through you, quietly. Long ago, people trusted mornings to arrive on their own. They did not wait for them. They did not call them closer. Night was allowed to finish in its own time. The farmhouse rests deeply. Walls and roof feel like part of the ground beneath them. Still, unaware. Inside, rooms remain exactly as they are. No motion, no memory. Outside, The field feels endless once more. No edges return yet. No paths appear. The sky opens wider. Stars fade softly, not disappearing, just blending. Clouds drift away without form. They leave the sky open behind them. Time begins to gather itself, very gently, not enough to notice, not enough to matter. If a thought lingers now, it can fade without finishing. That is enough. You do not need to hold on to this. There is nothing you need to remember. The river flows. The fields rest. The sky remains open. And before the light returns, the night settles into stillness, allowing everything within it to drift softly, quietly, into rest. The night continues, not forward, not back, just on. The land feels lighter now, as if it is being held rather than resting on itself. Fields remain open, but they no longer feel wide. They feel endless. Grass does not move. It has forgotten the idea of movement. The river flows beyond distance now. Not far, not near, just present. Moonlight is almost gone, not replaced, only softened into the sky. Light and dark no longer argue, they share the same space. The tree on the hill is no longer a shape, it is a feeling of where something once stood. That is enough. The air feels smooth and empty, in a comforting way, like a room that does not echo. Breathing happens quietly. It does not ask to be followed. It does not need help. In. Out. Long ago, people slept through hours like these without dreams, without thoughts, without names. Sleep was not an event. It was a place. The farmhouse is no longer separate from the land. Wood, soil, and shadow feel the same. Nothing stands apart. Inside, rooms rest without memory. No before, no after. Outside, the field holds no direction. Every step would feel the same, so there is no reason to step. The sky feels closer now, not above, but around. Stars have thinned into softness, barely noticeable. Clouds are gone, leaving no space behind them, just openness. Time floats here. It does not move in lines. It drifts like warm air. If a thought appears, it does not finish forming. It dissolves gently. You do not need to hold on to this. There is nothing you need to remember. The night carries everything easily, without edges, without weight. The river flows, the land rests, the sky remains open. And these hours that float do not need to pass. They simply remain, quietly allowing rest to deepen on its own. The night feels complete now, not finished, just full. The land no longer asks to be seen. It exists without shape. Fields stretch without distance. They do not begin, they do not end. Grass feels like a memory of texture, soft, unimportant. The river remains, but it no longer flows forward. It simply stays. Light and dark have blended fully. There is no edge between them. The tree on the hill is no longer there, and yet nothing is missing. The space it held is calm. The air feels smooth and even. No warmth, no coolness, just balance. Breathing moves quietly, without needing rhythm. It happens on its own. In. Out. Long ago, sleep was trusted to carry people without instruction. No effort was required. Night was not something to pass through. It was something to rest within. The farmhouse has dissolved into stillness, not gone, not present, simply part of everything else. Rooms hold nothing now, not emptiness, not fullness. Outside, the field has no direction. Forward and back feel the same. The sky is not above, it is everywhere. Stars have softened into gentle points that do not pull attention. Clouds are no longer separate, they have become part of the sky itself. Time has stopped behaving like time. It no longer moves, it rests. If a thought drifts in now, it fades without needing meaning. You do not need to hold on to this. There is nothing you need to remember. The night remains. The land rests. Everything feels allowed. And here, where nothing needs a name, rest deepens naturally, quietly, without direction. The night feels wide and gentle, as if it has opened its arms. Nothing is separate now. Nothing needs to be. The land rests without edges. Fields and sky feel the same. Grass is no longer texture. It is simply softness. The river remains without movement, not frozen, just complete. Light does not come from anywhere. Darkness does not take anything away. They exist together. The tree on the hill is fully gone, and the hill feels calm without it. Nothing feels lost. The air feels smooth and steady. It does not change. It does not need to. Breathing flows gently, unnoticed, unmeasured. In, out. Long ago, people trusted nights like this to carry them safely. No stories were told about them. They did not need telling. Sleep was not a destination. It was a state of being. The farmhouse no longer holds shape. It rests as part of the ground, part of the air. Rooms are quiet in a way that does not feel empty. Outside, there is no outside. The field has dissolved into space. The sky feels close, soft, endless. Stars are barely there, and that is enough. Time no longer stretches or moves. It holds. If a thought forms now, it does not need attention. It fades gently. You do not need to stay with these words. They can drift past you. There is nothing you need to remember. The night holds everything easily, without weight, without effort. And in this quiet that holds everything, rest settles deeper, slowly, naturally, on its own. The night feels settled now, as if it has found the exact place where it belongs. Nothing waits, nothing arrives. The land no longer rests, it simply is. Fields do not stretch anymore. Distance has folded into stillness. Grass is no longer felt, it has become part of the quiet. The river does not move forward or back. It does not need to. It exists without direction. Light does not change. Dark does not deepen. Everything feels balanced. The air is even and smooth. No shift, no signal. Breathing continues on its own, soft, unnoticed. In, out. Long ago, people slept through hours like these without marking them. They trusted night to hold the time until morning found its way back. There was no need to count, no need to know. The farmhouse is no longer a place, it is a feeling of shelter, spread gently across the land. Rooms have released their edges, nothing is contained, nothing escapes. Outside has disappeared, inside has faded too, only space remains. The sky does not equally. Stars have thinned into faint impressions, soft enough to ignore. Time has stopped asking to move. It rests here, comfortable, unaware. If a thought appears now, it passes without forming words. You do not need to hold on to this. There is nothing you need to remember. The night holds steady. The land remains calm. Everything feels allowed. And when time stops asking, rest deepens quietly, without effort, without awareness, without end. And as the village settles into its gentle morning rhythm, the river continues to flow steadily, its soft ripples catching the sunlight. Lanterns sway quietly along wooden docks, reflecting gentle golden glimmers across the calm water. The air carries a soft warmth, and everything moves at its own natural pace. You are safe here. There is nothing you need to hold on to. Along the narrow streets, the occasional villager walks slowly, carrying baskets of fresh herbs or bundles of flowers. Wooden wheels of carts creak softly, a familiar sound, comforting in its steady rhythm. You may imagine each sound blending into a gentle, unhurried melody that drifts through the morning air. In the small homes, families go about their morning quietly. Bread is sliced slowly, tea poured gently into cups, fires stoked to a soft glow. Children stretch and yawn, blinking sleep from their eyes, then move slowly toward morning chores. Parents guide them with quiet, gentle words, their hands brushing softly against small shoulders. You do not need to remember anything. Beyond the village, fields of crops sway lightly in the soft breeze. Farmers walk slowly among rows of young plants, checking leaves and adjusting small supports. The soil is soft beneath their feet, warmed by the sun, releasing gentle, earthy scents. Every motion is calm, deliberate, yet unhurried. Birds rise softly into the sky, their wings gliding through the calm morning air. Their calls are soft, melodic, fading naturally into the distance. Along the riverbanks, reeds sway slightly, brushing against each other quietly. You may follow your thoughts along this gentle rhythm. Back in the village, lanterns hang from wooden beams and posts, casting warm pools of light across the streets. Shadows rest softly, moving only with the slow sway of branches or the passing of a villager. The clock tower chimes once, its sound soft, carrying briefly through the quiet streets. No urgency exists, no lesson waits. You do not need to hold on to anything. Inside the community hall, soft whispers of conversation flow like a gentle river. Families discuss plans for the day. Neighbors exchange calm greetings. Wooden benches and tables rest quietly, the sunlight spilling across their surfaces in golden warmth. Everything feels steady, soft, and calm. Along garden paths, herbs and vegetables stretch slowly toward the sun. Tomatoes and beans lean gently in the breeze, their leaves brushing softly. Bees drift lazily from flower to flower, buzzing quietly, almost imperceptibly. Every sound, every motion moves at a natural, gentle pace. You may imagine yourself walking through these gardens, each step slow and unhurried. The river glimmers as it winds past wooden docks and small fishing boats. Ripples shimmer faintly under the sun's soft light, moving gently with each passing breeze. The occasional oar dips softly into the water, sending tiny concentric circles outward. Everything flows steadily, gently, harmoniously. Children move softly through the streets, carrying water from the wells or helping with small tasks. A dog follows at a slow pace, stopping occasionally to rest, then continuing quietly. The villagers move together in calm harmony, creating a rhythm that is steady, comforting, and safe. In kitchens, fires glow steadily, filling the air with faint warmth and gentle aromas. Bread rises slowly, dough brushed carefully, and tea steeps with a quiet patience. Everything prepares for the day, yet nothing hurries. You do not need to follow any of it. Along the river, a small canoe drifts slowly, and as the village settles into its gentle morning rhythm, the river continues to flow steadily, its soft ripples catching the sunlight. Lanterns sway quietly along wooden docks, reflecting gentle golden glimmers across the calm water. The air carries a soft warmth, and everything moves at its own natural pace. You are safe here. There is nothing you need to hold on to. Along the narrow streets, the occasional villager walks slowly, carrying baskets of fresh herbs or bundles of flowers. Wooden wheels of carts creak softly, a familiar sound, comforting in its steady rhythm. You may imagine each sound blending into a gentle, unhurried melody that drifts through the morning air. In the small homes, families go about their morning quietly. Bread is sliced slowly, tea poured gently into cups, fires stoked to a soft glow. Children stretch and yawn, blinking sleep from their eyes, then move slowly toward morning chores. Parents guide them with quiet, gentle words, their hands brushing softly against small shoulders. You do not need to remember anything. Beyond the village, fields of crops sway lightly in the soft breeze. Farmers walk slowly among rows of young plants, checking leaves and adjusting small supports. The soil is soft beneath their feet, warmed by the sun, releasing gentle, earthy scents. Every motion is calm, deliberate, yet unhurried. Birds rise softly into the sky, their wings gliding through the calm morning air. Their calls are soft, melodic, fading naturally into the distance. Along the riverbanks, reeds sway slightly, brushing against each other quietly. You may follow your thoughts along this gentle rhythm. Back in the village, lanterns hang from wooden beams and posts, casting warm pools of light across the streets. Shadows rest softly, moving only with the slow sway of branches or the passing of a villager. The clock tower chimes once, its sound soft, carrying briefly through the quiet streets. No urgency exists, no lesson waits. You do not need to hold on to anything. Inside the community hall, soft whispers of conversation flow like a gentle river. Families discuss plans for the day. Neighbors exchange calm greetings. Wooden benches and tables rest quietly, the sunlight spilling across their surfaces in golden warmth. Everything feels steady, soft, and calm. Along garden paths, herbs and vegetables stretch slowly toward the sun. Tomatoes and beans lean gently in the breeze, their leaves brushing softly. Bees drift late, and as the village settles into its gentle morning rhythm, the river continues to flow steadily, its soft ripples catching the sunlight. Lanterns sway quietly along wooden docks, reflecting gentle golden glimmers across the calm water. The air carries a soft warmth, and everything moves at its own natural pace. You are safe here. There is nothing you need to hold on to. Along the narrow streets, the occasional villager walks slowly, carrying baskets of fresh herbs or bundles of flowers. Wooden wheels of carts creak softly, a familiar sound, comforting in its steady rhythm. You may imagine each sound blending into a gentle, unhurried melody that drifts through the morning air. In the small homes, families go about their morning quietly. Bread is sliced slowly, tea poured gently into cups, fires stoked to a soft glow. Children stretch and yawn, blinking sleep from their eyes, then move slowly toward morning chores. Parents guide them with quiet, gentle words, their hands brushing softly against small shoulders. You do not need to remember anything. Beyond the village, fields of crops sway lightly in the soft breeze. Farmers walk slowly among rows of young plants, checking leaves and adjusting small supports. The soil is soft beneath their feet, warmed by the sun, releasing gentle, earthy scents. Every motion is calm, deliberate, yet unhurried. Birds rise softly into the sky, their wings gliding through the calm morning air. Their calls are soft, melodic, fading naturally into the distance. Along the riverbanks, reeds sway slightly, brushing against each other quietly. You may follow your thoughts along. The night feels complete now. Not finished, just whole. The village remains as it has been, settled into itself, comfortable with the stillness it holds. Stars rest in familiar places, their light softened by distance, their presence steady and calm. They do not flicker for attention, they simply remain. The river continues its gentle path, moving without sound you need to follow, flowing because it always has. The bridge rests above it, unchanged, patient, supporting space rather than motion. Fields stretch quietly beyond the homes, their shapes blended together, edges no longer important. Nothing needs definition here. The air feels even, balanced, easy to breathe. A soft breeze passes through once more, lighter than before, barely touching the land, then fading away. It leaves nothing behind. Inside the houses, rooms remain quiet and undisturbed. Walls hold warmth, floors feel solid and familiar. A chair remains beside a table, a book stays closed, a cup rests where it was set down. No movement is required. Time loosens further now, slowing into something wide and open. Moments blend together gently. You may notice how the body responds, muscles easing, breath slowing, attention drifting without effort. There is nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to solve. Thoughts can come and go freely, like clouds passing through a calm sky. They do not need direction. The road beyond the village continues unseen, curving softly through darkness and distance. It does not pull, it does not push. Fence lines rest where they are, posts evenly spaced, wire relaxed, holding shape without tension. Trees stand quietly at the edge of the land, their branches still, their presence grounding. Moonlight touches them lightly, then settles back into shadow. Everything feels supported, as if the night itself is holding the weight of the world, so you do not have to. Breathing becomes steady and slow, one gentle rhythm following the next. There is no signal to listen for, no moment to wait on. The night continues, patient and calm, unchanged by observation. You are safe within it. You are allowed to rest. Nothing ends here. Nothing begins. Only this quiet continuation, this soft, steady calm, this space where awareness fades naturally and rest comes easily, without effort, without expectation. Nothing changes suddenly. It never does. Evening simply keeps going, as if it has all the time it needs. And it does. The sky deepens a little more now. Not dark, just quieter. Like a room where voices have faded, but presence remains. A breeze passes through the village again, cooler than before. It moves across skin, then continues on, without asking for attention. You do not need to follow it. Along the riverbank, the water reflects fewer colors now, mostly soft blue, hints of gray. The surface smooths itself, as if settling into rest. The canoe shifts slightly, not from movement, but from balance. It finds a comfortable position and stays there. In the distance, a bell sounds once. Not loud, not urgent, just a single tone floating outward, then dissolving into the air. There is nothing it asks of you. Houses glow faintly now, not bright light, just enough. Lanterns flicker behind windows, casting slow-moving shapes on wooden walls. Shadows stretch inward, not outward anymore. They rest where they fall. Inside one home, a chair creaks softly as someone shifts their weight. They exhale, long, easy. A book lies open on a table, unread. It can wait. Outside, footsteps fade along the path. Someone has reached where they are going. The sound ends naturally. Crickets settle into a steady rhythm. Not a song, more like a breathing pattern. You may notice your own breathing now. You do not need to change it. The fields beyond the village darken gently. Fence posts become outlines. Trees turn into shapes rather than details. The land does not disappear. It simply rests. At the edge of town, a horse lowers its head, relaxes its stance, and grows still. Nothing is watching. Nothing is waiting. The river carries small reflections of lantern light, stretching them into soft lines that drift and fade. Time feels wider here, less exact. A door closes fully now, but quietly. No echo, no finality. In another home, a blanket is lifted, settled, smoothed once, then left alone. You do not need to remember who lives where. You do not need to remember names. The sky releases its last trace of gold. Blue deepens. Gray softens. The change is gradual, almost unnoticeable. A star appears, just one, then another, far apart. They do not form patterns yet. They do not need to. Along the river, the sound of water becomes steadier, lower, like a quiet hum beneath everything. Thoughts slow down here. They lose their edges. You may let them drift past without holding them. Somewhere, a clock marks the hour. Not sharply, just a gentle acknowledgement. The village does not respond. It continues resting. A cat curls into a tighter shape on a step, tail wrapped neatly, eyes closed without effort. The air cools again, but the ground remains warm. Comfort lingers. Lantern light steadies. No flicker now, just presence. Inside a small room, a window remains slightly open. Night air moves in and out, slow and even. Curtains lift once, then fall back into place. The river keeps moving, but it feels farther away now, as if wrapped in layers of calm. You are allowed to drift here. Nothing pulls you forward. Stars multiply slowly, not all at once. They take their time. The sky holds them gently. There is no story turning point, no shift in direction, only continuation. Breath follows breath. Sound follows silence. Light follows dark. And somewhere between waking and rest, the night settles fully, without needing to announce itself. There is nothing you need to solve, nothing you need to understand. Time flows on, softly, quietly, without edges. Across the village, the meeting hall stands calm and unchanged. Its windows catch the evening light, then let it go. Time continues, but softly, as if trying to not wake anyone. Inside a small room, a chair is pulled closer to the window. Someone sits. They look outward, but not at anything specific. Their thoughts wander without direction, and that feels right. The sky shifts again. Colors layer gently, pale gold, soft blue, faint gray. You do not need to remember the order. Along the river, the water sounds slower now, deeper, more rounded. It carries the day forward without comment. Lanterns begin to appear in doorways, still unlit, waiting. Waiting is easy here. A dog rises, walks a few steps, then lies down again, curling comfortably against the earth. The ground holds the warmth of the sun. It gives it back slowly. In one home, plates are set on a table. Simple food, simple movements, no conversation needed. The air smells faintly of wood and grain, familiar, comforting. You are allowed to rest here. Nothing is expected of you. As evening settles more fully, the village grows quieter, not because it must, but because it wants to. The sky darkens by degrees, never all at once. Stars are not visible yet, and that is fine. There is no schedule to follow. The river keeps moving, the land keeps breathing, the village keeps resting. And somewhere between light and night, between thought and stillness, everything remains gentle. There is no ending forming here, no lesson arriving, only the soft continuation of time, slowing down. And everything remains exactly where it needs to be. The afternoon does not end suddenly. It loosens its grip, softly, almost kindly. Light begins to change its tone. Not brighter, not darker, just warmer, like a quiet thought drifting through the mind. The sun lowers a little, and shadows stretch in long, gentle lines across the ground. They do not rush. They do not chase anything. Along the riverbank, the water deepens in color. It reflects more sky now than land. Blue blends into gold, then fades again. The canoe still rests where it was, untouched, unmoved. Its rope dips lightly into the water, making small circles that slowly disappear. You do not need to follow those circles. They fade on their own. In the village, doors begin to close halfway. Not shut, just eased, as if homes are slowly settling into themselves. Inside one house, a lamp is lifted from a shelf and placed gently on a table. It is not lit yet. There is no rush for light. A kettle sits quietly on a stove, still warm from earlier. No steam rises now, just silence. Nearby, someone folds a cloth, carefully, neatly, then places it where it belongs. The task is simple, and that is enough. Outside, the sound of insects begins to soften the air. Not loud, not sharp, just a steady presence, like a distant hum. It blends easily with the rustle of leaves and the slow movement of water. The land feels wider now, more open, as if the day is exhaling. You may exhale too. There is nothing you need to carry forward. A few figures walk slowly along the path, their steps unhurried, their silhouettes stretched by the low sun. They exchange quiet words, then drift apart naturally. No one is left behind. No one is waiting. At the edge of the fields, the tall grass moves again. This time touched by cooler air. The warmth of the day remains, but it is gentler now. A bird settles on a fence post, tilts its head once, then stills. It does not sing. It does not need to. The darkness feels familiar now. Not heavy, not deep, just present. The village remains exactly where it was, as if it has chosen to pause, not out of stillness, but out of ease. Stars soften behind a thin veil of cloud, their light becoming gentle suggestion. They do not vanish, they rest. The sky feels wide, but not distant. It feels close enough to trust. A slow breeze moves through again, touching rooftops, passing over chimneys, sliding quietly through open land. It carries no message. It simply moves on. The river continues its patient path, no longer noticed as sound, only as presence. Water knows where it is going. A wooden bridge spans the river farther downstream, boards resting evenly, rails worn smooth by time and hands. It stands quietly, holding nothing, supporting everything. Moonlight touches the surface of the bridge, then fades as clouds shift again. No one crosses now, and that is fine. Fields beyond the village settle deeper into shadow, their shapes blending into one another. Edges soften, boundaries fade. You do not need to picture them clearly. They remain whether you look or not. A farmhouse window reflects faint starlight, glass cool and steady. Inside, rooms hold warmth from earlier hours. Furniture stays exactly as it was left. Nothing calls for attention. A clock somewhere marks time softly, not loudly enough to count, just enough to exist. Then even that sound becomes distant. Thoughts slow here. They loosen their grip. If something drifts through your mind, it can pass like a cloud, thin, temporary. There is nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to decide. A fence gate rests against its post, closed but not latched. It does not move. It does not need to. Beyond it, the land continues uninterrupted, rolling gently into darkness. Trees stand farther out, their trunks solid, their branches still. They do not sway now. They hold their shape. Moonlight brushes the tops of those trees once more, creating soft contrast, then settling again. The night feels balanced here. Even. No sound feels too close, no silence feels empty. A distant train horn hums once, very far away, so faint it barely registers. It fades quickly. Nothing follows. The village remains calm, wrapped in its own quiet rhythm. Breathing feels slower now, deeper, more natural. The body understands this pace. You may notice the weight of the day easing, not disappearing, just becoming less important. There is nothing you need to hold on to, nothing you need to carry forward. The night does not demand awareness, it allows rest. Stars return as clouds thin again, their light steady and patient. They do not shift position, they simply remain. The road beyond the village continues unseen, curving gently through land and time. It does not pull you along. A porch swing moves slightly, then settles back into stillness. The chain stops softly. Silence fills the space again. The air holds a faint scent of grass and wood, grounded, unchanging. This place feels held, as if the night itself is supporting everything within it. You are included in that. There is no ending here, no signal to wake, no lesson waiting. Only this steady quiet, this calm presence, this night that holds and continues to hold, without effort, without expectation. The quiet does not break. It stretches, gently, like a long, unhurried breath. The night air feels settled now, as if it has found the exact temperature it was always meant to hold. Nothing cools further, nothing warms. The village remains still, not asleep, not awake, simply resting in place. The stars continue their patient watch. They do not sparkle with urgency. They glow in a way that feels familiar, almost remembered. Somewhere beyond the houses, the land opens wide. Fields extend without edges, soft shapes in deeper shadow. You do not need to see them clearly. They exist whether you notice or not. A gentle breeze moves again, lighter than before, barely touching the tall grass, just enough to remind it to sway. Then it passes. The river's sound grows quieter, not because it stops, but because your attention no longer needs to follow it. Water knows how to move on its own. A barn stands farther out, its outline steady against the dark. Wood holds the memory of years, of hands, of quiet work done slowly. The doors remain closed. They are not waiting for anything. A ladder leans where it always has, balanced, unconcerned. The sky seems larger here, as if distance itself has softened. Clouds thin further, becoming suggestion rather than shape. They drift without purpose, and that feels right. Inside the village, chimneys rest without smoke. Fireplaces have cooled to embers. Warmth lingers without effort. Stone pathways remember footsteps, but they do not replay them. They simply remain ready. You might notice how the sense of time loosens here. Minutes feel less defined. Seconds stretch into quiet space. There is no schedule to follow. No moment you might miss. A dog shifts in its sleep near a doorway. Breath slow, ears relaxed. It does not wake. A wind chime stirs once, producing a single soft note, then falling still again. It does not repeat itself. Somewhere beyond the river, trees stand close together, their branches forming dark arches overhead. Leaves overlap, creating deeper shade. They do not rustle now. They wait. Moonlight touches the tops of those branches, just enough to outline their shape, not enough to disturb the dark beneath. You are not expected to go there. You can simply know it exists. Back near the houses, windows reflect faint light. Glass holds the night without changing it. Curtains remain still. Rooms behind them rest quietly. A chair sits beside a table, slightly angled, as it was left hours ago. Nothing needs to be adjusted. The floor beneath it feels solid, reliable, unchanging. This is a place where nothing rushes. Even memory moves slowly. If thoughts arrive, they arrive gently. If they fade, they do so without effort. There is nothing you need to hold on to, nothing you need to solve. The land feels older than any single moment, yet calm in its age. It has seen nights like this before, many times. The stars continue their quiet arrangement, not shifting, not demanding notice. They simply remain. The road beyond the village curves out of sight, not disappearing, just continuing somewhere else. It does not ask you to follow. Fence lines stretch softly into darkness, posts evenly spaced, wire resting without tension. Everything feels balanced. A distant farmhouse rests alone, a single structure surrounded by open land. No lights show now. Its presence is enough. The air carries a faint scent of grass and soil, grounded, neutral, steady. Breathing feels easier here, as if the night itself supports it. Insects hum quietly, not loudly enough to distract, just enough to fill the silence with something living. Then even that fades. Silence returns, not empty, but full. Time feels wide now, stretching, unmeasured. You may notice how the body responds, shoulders lowering, jaw softening, breath settling into a slower rhythm. There is nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to prepare for. The village does not expect anything from you. The night continues doing what it has always done, holding space, keeping watch, remaining gentle. Stars dim slightly behind passing cloud, then return as the cloud moves on. Nothing is lost. The river flows on, quiet and steady, beyond attention. The land rests into itself, supported by its own weight, unconcerned with outcome. You are allowed to rest here, completely. No endings appear. No beginnings announce themselves. Only this soft continuation, this steady calm, this place where time loosens its grip and simply allows you to be. The night does not deepen all at once. It settles, layer by layer, like fabric placed gently on a resting form. The stars hold their positions now. They no longer appear, they simply remain. The village rests beneath them, unchanged, unconcerned with time. The river continues its slow movement, but its sound feels distant now, as if the world has stepped back to give you space. Lanterns burn lower, not dim, just steady. They know how long they are meant to last. A wooden porch creaks once, then grows quiet again. No footsteps follow. Inside a small house near the edge of town, someone turns slightly in their sleep. A breath shifts, then settles. You do not need to imagine their face. You do not need to follow their dream. The air carries the scent of wood and earth, familiar, unremarkable, comforting in its simplicity. A window reflects starlight faintly. The glass cools. The frame holds. Outside, the fields stretch into darkness, but not emptiness. They remain present, patient. Grass bends slightly with the breeze, then lifts again. Nothing breaks. Time moves differently now, not forward, not backward, just gently through. A distant owl calls once, then grows silent. It does not repeat itself. There is no response. Somewhere along the river, a small splash fades quickly, as if it never needed to be heard. The water smooths itself again. In the village square, the ground holds warmth from the day. Stone remembers sunlight longer than expected. Benches remain where they are, unoccupied, content. A closed shop door rests against its frame, unchanged from hours before. Tomorrow does not concern it. You may notice how your thoughts slow here. They do not disappear, they simply lose urgency. There is nothing you need to hold on to, nothing you need to resolve. Clouds pass lightly overhead, thin enough to let starlight through. They do not gather, they drift. The sky remains open. A fence post catches a faint glow, then returns to shadow. Its shape stays familiar. Farther out, the road fades into darkness, but it does not end. It continues quietly, without needing to be seen. A horse exhales slowly, weight shifting slightly, then becoming still again. The rhythm of night holds everything. Inside another home, a candle has burned low. Its flame flickers once, then steadies. Wax pools softly. Time passes. The sound of the river blends with the night air, creating a gentle hum beneath everything else. It does not change. It does not demand attention. Stars feel farther apart now, not because they moved, but because awareness has softened. You may drift with that feeling. A curtain lifts again, barely. It settles back into place. The room behind it remains calm, undisturbed. No clocks feel loud anymore. No hours feel defined. The village exists without effort. You are allowed to rest here, between moments, between thoughts. The night does not push you forward, it does not pull you back. It simply stays. Breath follows breath, slow, even, unremarkable. If a thought appears, it can pass. If it stays, it can soften. There is nothing you need to remember. Nothing you need to prepare for. The stars continue watching quietly. Not observing, just present. The river carries reflections that no longer stand out. Light becomes suggestion. Movement becomes memory. The land rests into itself, as if it has done this many times before. And it has. The night holds steady now, unchanging, unrushed. Nothing new begins. Nothing ends. Only this calm continuation, this gentle stillness, this quiet that stays. The early morning sun rises softly over a quiet village along the eastern coast of colonial America. The river glimmers gently in the light, flowing slowly past wooden docks and small fishing boats. Everything is calm. You are safe here. Nothing pulls at you. You do not need to hold onto anything. The houses are simple, made of warm timber and stone, with smoke rising gently from chimneys. The streets are quiet, except for the occasional footsteps of villagers beginning their day. Wooden carts move slowly, carrying firewood or fresh produce. Every sound is gentle, rhythmic, steady. Inside the homes, families begin to stir softly. Bread is baked, herbs are arranged neatly, and warm stews fill the air with comforting aromas. Children stretch and yawn, moving slowly, still in their pajamas or nightclothes. Parents move with ease, tending to morning chores, their steps soft on wooden floors. There is nothing you need to remember. Along the riverbanks, ducks glide across the calm water. Ripples shimmer gently in the sun's soft glow. Fishermen row quietly, casting lines without hurry, the water carrying every motion gracefully. A cat rests near a dock, eyes half closed, purring softly. A dog lies by the hearth, safe and still. The village clock tower chimes a soft note. It echoes through the streets, lingering in the calm air. No urgency exists here. No lesson waits. You do not need to hold anything. Gardens behind small homes sway gently in the morning breeze. Tomatoes, beans, and herbs brush against each other softly. The soil holds the warmth of the previous day, releasing it slowly. Everything moves at a natural, unhurried rhythm. You may follow it with your own breath. Along the main street, neighbors greet each other softly. Words are quiet, friendly, gentle. No excitement or rush disturbs the calm. The marketplace hums subtly as merchants arrange baskets of fruits and vegetables. Everything is orderly. Everything is steady. The river reflects the sky, a soft, pale blue, dotted with wisps of clouds. Sails flutter lazily on the horizon. Water laps softly against wooden pilings, steady, rhythmic, soothing. You may imagine your thoughts floating like the gentle river. Nothing pulls, nothing presses. In the community hall, villagers gather quietly to share news or prepare for small celebrations. Wooden benches and tables are arranged neatly. Candles or lanterns glow faintly even as the sun rises, adding soft warmth. Everything is calm. You do not need to follow anything. Along the narrow alleys, chickens scratch at the ground slowly, pecking and moving without hurry. A dog stretches, yawns, and settles again near a garden gate. Stone and wooden walls absorb the warmth of the day and reflect the calm of the village. The children move outside for morning chores, gentle laughter in the air. Soft whispers, soft feet on wooden boards, everything slow and steady. The river murmurs nearby, and the morning breeze carries its gentle sound through the streets. In the fields beyond, farmers walk slowly among their crops, checking leaves, adjusting supports for young plants. The soil feels soft and warm beneath their feet. The sun warms their backs gently, and the day moves forward, quietly, naturally. The smell of freshly baked bread and brewed tea drifts through open windows. Hearth fires glow steadily, casting faint shadows on walls and furniture. Everything is at ease. Nothing pulls, nothing presses. You do not need to hold on to this. Along the river, a canoe glides slowly, carrying soft bundles of supplies. Ripples expand outward, fading gently into the calm water. Birdsong rises quietly, then drifts away with the breeze. Everything flows naturally, peacefully. The village breathes as one, slowly, calmly. Lanterns sway gently along the docks. Wooden carts creak softly as they move through the streets. Every sound is soothing. Every movement is gentle. The early sun rises higher, casting golden light over rooftops, riverbanks, and fields. Stone and timber glow warmly. Shadows stretch slowly and settle. You may drift with this rhythm. All is calm. All is safe. Along quiet streets and gardens, villagers move in soft harmony. Children skip slowly, pets rest peacefully, smoke rises steadily from chimneys. Nothing hurries, nothing presses. You do not need to remember anything. And as the village continues its quiet rhythm, the river flows steadily onward. Lanterns, rooftops, wooden docks, and small boats move gently together. You may drift along, slowly, comfortably, peacefully. There is no ending waiting, no lesson forming. You do not need to hold on to anything. All is calm.